in the moment, in today's show, in this moment in time, which is the only moment we have right now, I point out a passionate, delirious group, a handful of 49er supporters who have reached out to me since Sunday night and have requested that they get a retraction. So if you don't know what this is about, if you haven't been listening to the show, over the last couple of months, I pointed out the frailties in Brock Purdy. At one point, he was the leader in the MVP conversation, and then he went out and defecated all over the field against the Baltimore Ravens. It was an epic defecation situation. And since then, that calmed down a little bit, but now the mob is back. So the last couple of days, I've been hit up by a handful of Niner aficionados who claim to listen to the show, although some of these names are not very familiar to me, but they listen on 95.7 The Game, our home in the Bay Area, and these fine souls are demanding an apology. They want a retraction on my stance of Brock Purdy, the game manager, the dreaded game manager. They believe, based on the feedback that they're giving me here, that just merely winning the NFC Championship and getting to the Super Bowl is enough to end the conversation about Brock Purdy as a game manager. So let's address this conversation. We will circle back to what I have said over the last couple of months when it comes to this. So the question is this: thumbs up or thumbs down on Brock Purdy now proving that he is not a game manager because the Niners are going to be playing in the Super Bowl? And that would be a thumbs down. Did you really expect me to go thumbs up? Are you that naive? It's still thumbs down. It is still thumbs down. I've got PowerPoint, multicolored marshmallows, and Tupperware. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a pogo stick that you can hop up and down on. A nice pogo stick. So, number one. So this is a notch. It's a very big notch on the bedpost for Brock Purdy. Congratulations. You've made the biggest stage of them all as a professional football player, the Super Bowl. Congratulations. Now, despite that, right, I'll be the voice of reason. We do not use recency bias. Many people do use recency bias. We are not using recency bias. There have been plenty of game managers who have made the Super Bowl. For those of you that are wearing your Brock Purdy T-shirt and your jersey, let me repeat that for those of you in the back. There have been plenty of game managers that have made the Super Bowl. I'm going to go back this generation. The generation's about 25 years, so I'm going to go back to the year 2000. Year 2000. Since then, you have guys like Kerry Collins, Jake Delhomme, Rex Grossman played in Super Bowl. Matt Hasselbeck started a Super Bowl. Colin Kaepernick started a Super Bowl. Jared Goff, Jimmy Garoppolo, none of them that good. They all started Super Bowls within the last generation. So does that mean that they were elite because they started a Super Bowl? You're going to tell me Jake Delhomme was an elite quarterback or Colin Kaepernick? Come on. Of course not. They were not. They had a brief moment in the sun, and that's it. They faded away. But even if Brock Purdy, here's the thing that's going to blow you away. Even if Brock Purdy and the Niners win, I don't believe they will, but even if they do win over Kansas City in the Super Bowl, that act alone does not change the standing of Brock Purdy. It doesn't. Because I just rolled off a bunch of names like Jared Goff and Garoppolo and Grossman, guys like that were game managers that made the Super Bowl. But wait, every once in a while, once in a blue moon, one of those game managers actually wins a Super Bowl. In fact, Eli Manning had lightning strike twice. He's a game manager. He sucks. At 500 quarterback in the regular season. Everyone knows it. And he won 2 because he played well in a few playoff games. Nick Foles is the greatest example, out-of-body experience for the Philadelphia football team. They made a pact with the devil, and they won a few years ago against Tom Brady and Russell Wilson. You can put him down there. Brad Johnson. I think I mentioned Trent Dilfer. He actually won with the Baltimore football team. But if you look at my PowerPoint presentation, the Maller PowerPoint presentation, okay, here is the key here. At this moment, if you look at the PowerPoint, you'll see right away, Brock Purdy is what's known as a fad, right? F-A-D, a fad. Now, sometimes something comes along that seems like a fad, a passing fancy, and it turns out that over time, it latches on and it's legit. It's real. It becomes a lasting phenomenon. It's got staying power. Very rarely does that happen. It happened for Tom Brady. Tom Brady, I was on the radio when Brady started with the Patriots, said, well, this is nice, but it won't last. He's not that good. And he wasn't very good the first couple of years. His numbers were blah. And then it turned out he got better, and he stayed, and they won, and they won, and they won, and he ended that debate. Over. But it doesn't happen in 1 year. It doesn't happen in 2 years. It's a elongated period of time. So Brock Purdy can go out and throw 5 touchdowns for the 49ers, and they can win the game by 30 points, and it still does not change the narrative about Brock Purdy. The fact that the team in San Francisco was trying to get Tom Brady before the season, they don't even believe in Brock Purdy. But we can't bring that up. You can't talk that part out loud. You got to whisper that part. All right. Now, headline, page 2, headline from La La Land. Jim Harbaugh is going to be welcomed on Thursday, and that is a very expensive hootenanny. How expensive we now know, we've learned that Jim Harbaugh agreed to a contract for 5 years that will pay him $16 million a year. So that works out, math, to $80 million. That Jim Harbaugh is going to get $80 million to coach the LAAFC football club. So I've followed the Chargers from afar. I worked in San Diego when they were there. I got my start in radio. I had a great setup, man. I had connections. A buddy of mine that did TV and gave me sideline passes to Charger games. And they were terrible. Ryan Leaf was there, and I used to stand on the sidelines. And back in those days, before the NFL became a bunch of douchebags, I was pretty much standing on the bench, and I would usually just go to the visiting team because they were good, and the Chargers sucked. But I have fond memories of going to Charger games at Jack Murphy Stadium / Qualcomm, which is no longer around in San Diego. But my entire life, the knock on the Spanos family has been they are tightwads. That has been the knock. So what changed for the Chargers to now pay Jim Harbaugh legit big-time money if these reports are accurate? So the Spanos family clearly has changed their diet. Say the planets all lined up here, but they have turned to the General. I believe they are going to General Mills here. They're eating those multicolored marshmallows and the oats that are shaped and pulverized and all that. Lucky the Leprechaun came in there, and they're like, hey, you got a quarterback. You're paying the quarterback a lot of money. Last time you had a good quarterback, you didn't win squat. The time before that, you had a good quarterback. You didn't win squat. So maybe you should not F around. That the Spanos family, if they could have found the clone of Norv Turner, they would have hired him. Right? They wasted years with that stupid doofus Norv Turner. And so now they got a legit coach, and they spent the money. Congratulations. So they went out, and they had Lucky Charms. Congratulations. And we'll see if it works out or not. But, hey, you spent the money. And Jim Harbaugh was the top coach available. You got him. So good luck. All right, final point. Headline in Dallas. Jerry Jones. Anytime Jerry Jones talks, we listen. So Jerry Jones announced his plans for the 2024 season. Do you see this? No? All right. Jerry Jones, if you didn't hear, he said, quote, we will be going all in. That used to be a bit we did in the show. All in. Jerry Jones says we will be going all in. He barked to select, hand-picked Dallas Cowboy media members. He said, I would say that you will see us this coming year not build it for the future, he said, in reference to the plans. So Jerry Jones saying that the Cowboys are going all in this 2024 offseason, the silly season of football. Can you decode this one? So there's nothing to decode on this. There's nothing. It's very straightforward. And if you've paid attention, if you're a long-suffering Dallas Cowboy fan, or if you are a gas bag or blowhard that talks about the Dallas Cowboys behind microphones and cameras and things like that, you would be aware that Jerry Jones says a version of this every single effing year. Every single effing year. This is like 3-day-old leftover spaghetti in the Tupperware placed in the back of the refrigerator is what this story is, right? It's Jerry Jones saying the Cowboys are going for the Super Bowl is akin to celebrating Thanksgiving or the 4th of July or Mardi Gras in New Orleans or any of the state fairs in the summer or a polar plunge in the winter. These are traditions that happen on a cyclical basis. Jerry Jones announcing they are in it to win it is on the list. It's on the list. It's a yearly decree in Jerry's world, and it has been wrong for 10,230 days. Last time the Cowboys won was 1996, January of 1996. And it's been 28 years. But anybody could have a bad 28 years. Now, if you want to hear Jerry Jones, just to prove I'm not lying here, and I don't know if this is from this year, maybe it's from 10 years ago or 15 years ago or 20 years ago or 25 years ago. Jerry says it every year. But I believe this is the latest version of Jerry's promise. The Cowboys are in it to win it.
I would anticipate, with looking ahead at our key contracts that we'd like to address, we'll be all in. I would anticipate we'll be all in at the end of this year. So when you say, is there any thought, I think we'll we'll push the hell out of it. Okay. It will be going all in on different people than you've done in the past. We'll be going all in. We've seen some things out of some of the players that we want to be all in on. And yes, I would say that you will see us this coming year not building for the future. Is the best way I don't say it. Okay. I mean, that ought to answer a lot of questions.
So Jerry got a talking point from PR guy for the Cowboys. He said, say all in as many times as you can say all in. That's the buzzword. That's the talking points memo. And Jerry said it. I can debunk the Cowboys are all in. I can debunk it. They kept Mike McCarthy as the coach. They had a chance to hire Bill Belichick, and they kept Mike McCarthy. Hello? Is that all in, keeping Mike McCarthy? I'm asking for a friend.